I had did my first 2 years in the prison down in Cincinnati. Then I did my next 4 years in Toledo prison, and my last 4 in Richland, which was in Mansfield, Ohio. And when I first got locked up, I was still young. I was still acrimonious. I was still just young. I didn't take nothing serious. I didn't care about nothing. And, you know, I was getting into fights. I was stealing. And I was just doing everything that really wasn't cool. My mom used to always write me like, you know, don't get no new bad habits. And it didn't register me at first, you know. When I first went down, I was like kind of all I had for real. Like, it was out of sight, out of mind. Everybody just knew Wes with the prison. But when you in there, people feel like, oh, you in prison, you got 3 houses and a cot. But what the realization is that it costs to stay anywhere in America. I don't care where you is. In prison, they charge you for everything. They tax you for everything. So it's not like you just living scot-free because you're in prison. Like, they want money too. So, you know, to kind of survive in prison, you know, I eventually got back into selling drugs while I was incarcerated. And I was able to be successful at it based on the fact that the prison I was in Toledo was right in the neighborhood that I caught my case in. So a lot of people who worked in the institution were people who knew me personally when I was in the streets. So for me to try to get money and incorporate them getting money, it was all for it, you know, because they knew me personally, they knew what type of guy I was, they knew my pedigree, they knew I knew how to move and get money. So, and then the numbers I was throwing down, it was kind of undeniable for real. So, when I was in Toledo prison, man, I sold drugs. I made more money selling tobacco than I did anything because they had cut out tobacco in the prison system. So, a pouch of tobacco that cost 80 cents, in prison I could sell it for $100. So it was like the most grand hustle I had ever seen in my life. And I was doing well for a long time. But what eventually ended up changing my life was my mother. And I wrote her a poem one time and I asked her like, you know, are you ashamed of me because I'm in prison? And the name of the poem was called Penitentiary Pain. And I had wrote for my mother on Mother's Day. And I remember vividly the poem was like, there is nothing fine about being confined. Prison is painful. I wonder if my mother looked at me shameful from her angle because her angel has her heart tangled. Because I tangled into a place where dark clouds cast black rainbows and it constantly rains snow, so all I see is hell. Heads hang low in cells and we try to exhale when there's no mail. For them expelled from the world because they only understand Braille. Blind for real to those in jail. Our hearts become cold as hell to those who let us grow old and stale. The ones we once loved before become foes as well. The door to our emotions become closed and nailed. And every day the feeling to explode excels. See, prison can corrode the soul and expose the frail. We lose control being controlled by those who need control themselves. Thinking of children oppressors. We become restless and then obsessive with being aggressive. Some men were sitting here and watch a century change. I shed tears, hoping someone would feel my penitentiary pain. You know, and that was the poem I wrote for my mother, and her response was this. She was like, you know, I'm not ashamed of you, Wes, because I'm my mother's only son. She was like, but my only problem with you is you put all your energy into the wrong thing. She's like, I done sit back and watch you, and you a mastermind in all honesty. It's like you put all your energy behind the wrong thing. It's like you would sit back and come up with a plan, but it's for destruction. And then it didn't sit with me right then and there, but like months later, man, a lot of things in the prison system as far as me selling drugs, it was just unraveling. You know, prison is full of hyenas, full of hustlers, so everybody's trying to come up. So by me being in the drug game, naturally a lot of things comes with that. So eventually I got tired of fake beefs and having to defend what I had going on. I just gave it all up one day. And when I gave it up, man, I stayed true to giving it up. You know, God started placing people in my life that assisted me in helping change my life and reconstructing my life. And I remember my mother just saying, like, you gotta redirect your energy. And the same energy I started using to sell drugs or get drugs inside the institution, I started putting it towards different things. And I would get all the young guys that was my age together in a housing unit. And I'm like, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do all week long, but let's do one day out the week where we get together and we do something constructive. They respected me, so they were down with it. So Saturday nights, I would cook a big dinner for all the young guys in the block, and we would like get a book from the library. We get Black history books, and we'd sit back and we'd study Black history. And it was just an awesome experience. And that's when I kind of like tapped into doing the poetry shows. I had did my first poetry show inside the Toledo prison, and I had created like a little organization. It was called Digging Diamonds Out the Dirt. And we had did poetry shows with the young guys right there in the block. And I can remember the warden calling me into their office, and they were saying like, we keep on hearing your name, we hearing good stuff, but the thing is we feel like that your mindset is too powerful and your influence is too strong. So by me being a guy who went to prison and I felt illiterate going to prison, I barely still struggle with math today, for them to tell me that my mindset was too powerful, that only fueled me. For somebody of that caliber to find me powerful. So it only fueled me in my endeavors, but what's meant to stop me only propelled me for real. And shortly after that, a friend of mine, his name is Polo, he's from Miami, he started encouraging me to take the poetry a little bit more serious. And I was like, I really couldn't see no benefits financially in doing poetry. And he was like, with your mindset, you could probably take it to another level. So then shortly after that, I was transferred to the Richland prison, and I gave it a shot and I started doing poetry. And within me doing poetry, I started experiencing some amazing things. By me doing poetry, a lot of doors started opening up for me to where I was able to do shows every 3 months. When I got to Richland, they never did shows ever at all, period. Guys who had talent and abilities just lied dormant. And just through the grace of God, I was able to be used as a tool to where I started doing shows every 3 months. I started doing comedy shows. I was led to where I wrote, produced, and directed a full-blown movie and was able to direct it and everything inside the institution. I was doing music videos, I was doing beats, and all the energy that I was using selling drugs and doing the wrong thing, I was able to redirect it. And I was able to use it for being constructive and changing everybody's lives around me. And me being that type of person where I was doing everything to help everybody else, people start calling me Wallstreet West. I mean, that's Wallstreet West because I invest in people. So there was a moniker that I acquired, it just kind of stuck around for real, man. And to the point now it's kind of a brand name. And it just changed my life for it. I'm grateful. These are my nephews, and Dominic, he was 5 when I went to prison, and James was 3. James couldn't even remember when we went to prison, but my nephew Dominic, he had so much love for me before I went to prison. It was amazing. He was so young, but he remembered everything. Like, I would come pick him up. Every dollar I had, I would spend on him, taking me to the movies, buying him candy. And I was just excited about having men in the family. But James really loved me just based on the love that Dominic had for me. So even though those 10 years in prison away from them, it was hard, I'm grateful for doing those 10 years because I'm able now to not only reach them and be a positive role model for them, but just anybody in general. If I hadn't did those 10 years, the influence I would have had on them or anybody else wouldn't have been positive or constructive, but prison ended up saving my life and just constructing my life in a way to where, I'm a better person, everything that God intended me to be in the first place. And I'm just grateful and I'm excited for everything that God has been using me. But I've been home 10 months. My first 7 months home, I had acquired so much. My first 7 months home, my house burned down, I lost everything. And I had to start all over again. And I trust God so much that I didn't cry, I didn't trip, I didn't feel sad, man. I just knew that this was an opportunity for me to be the tool again to show people how awesome God works when you stand in His presence and in His will, And, my house burned, I lost everything, and here I am. I have another house, man. My life is actually better than it was before then. Like, I got more than I had before my house burned down, and God just blessed me so much and just turned my whole life around for real, man. So now I just want to give guys hope that prison doesn't define you. Everything that you are now, if you're not living your purpose, it doesn't define you. and hopefully everything that you've been through and everything that you're going through only makes you stronger. Now I own a production company. Everything that I did in prison, I used it as a trial run. I brought it to the streets and turned it into a profession. You know, all the movies and all the shows and all the beats I was making, the videos in the streets. I came home, I started a production company, and you know, it's working for me. You know, God is moving for me. I go to Cleveland State now, where my major is marketing, and Cleveland State is just a hub for opportunity. And you know, I just hope that I can inspire somebody to let them know that, you know, prison isn't your last destination, and you know, you can move on, you can grow, things can get better. And whatever landed you in prison doesn't have to define you or stop you. So a lot of times, when people be like, "Oh, it's hard, this and that," you know, you're gonna have opposition all your life, but it's all about what you do after the opposition. It's gonna make you or it's gonna break you. So it's all up to you what you let life happen to you. So, you know, my name is Wallstreet West. I hope that I can inspire somebody. I hope I can uplift somebody and even help somebody. So I appreciate Visions Revealed for taking the time out to, you know, take interest in me as a human being and being a vessel to where I can help and I can be used in any form of fashion that I can help, I will help. So thank you for Vision Revealed. I appreciate you and thank you for the opportunity.